My name is Jeff, and I'll be your tour guide today. We're going to be taking a look at a group of Native Americans called the Tocobaga. Behind me, you'll see a wide array of different types of pottery that we've found from the Tocobaga. You'll notice a variety of different shapes and colors. Also in this gallery, we'll be taking a look at artifacts including shell tools, some metal objects, and some jewelry.
Leote, Nausoto, Aichi ni Kamini, Yamota.
How do they make boats, you ask? It's a good question. Follow me over here. The Tocobaga made something called a dugout canoe, which is carved from a single tree trunk. To do this required a lot of effort, but they would do it with shell tools.
Wait, so they use shells? How do you carve a tree with shells?
It's actually an interesting process. They would use hot coals laid over the wood to soften it. Then they would take something like a whelk, a nice hard shell, and lash it to a hard stick with rope, and then use this to chop out the wood.
But where do they get the rope from?
Oh, good question. Rope can be made in a lot of different types of ways. You can use materials from palm trees, either the leaves or the bark, or vines, and weave them together to make a strong rope. Then you can lash anything to a stick to make a tool. You'll see over here that just about all shell tools were made in this method. Fishing spears were made this way. Get a long straight stick, tie a sharpened shell to the end of it with a woven piece of rope, and that gets you into the water to start getting fish. We have no evidence of fishing poles from this culture, so nets or fishing spears would be used to get fish for food. We've also got an interesting exhibit on artifacts that have to do more with culture and beauty. Why don't we go and take a look at those right now? For the Tocobaga, it wasn't all about pottery, weapons, and tools. Here we have a wonderful collection of adornments, jewelry, most of it. Some of it's shell, and you'll see that there are holes drilled in there so that, using some of that rope that we talked about before, you could string together perhaps a necklace. We also have some examples of metal and glass beads. These indicate contact with the Spanish and the Europeans. This also starts to get us to the part of the story where the Tocobaga began to disappear. Contact with the Europeans wasn't good to the Tocobaga. Many were taken as slaves, many died from European diseases that they had no immunity to. So, within about 100 years of contact with the Spanish, the Tocobaga essentially disappeared. So the story here, from the archaeologist's point of view, is that we can learn a lot about the Tocobaga from the artifacts that they left behind. Whether it's the pottery, the shell tools, the arts and adornments. Every time we find a new artifact, it helps us to fill in just a little bit more of the story of the Tocobaga people. So, does anybody have any questions?
Are there any of them left? Did they survive?
Some may have. Some may have taken to canoes and escaped to the Caribbean.
That's so sad. How could such a great people disappear like that?
I feel like this relates to me.
And that's good, and an important reason for you coming here today. Okay, well I guess that wraps it up. Thank you all for coming and spending some time with me this morning. Let me show you where we need to be next. Come this way.